Okay, we're live. Right, we're still working on this ransom mower deck. I just got to put some paint on it. Got a list of 4 or 5 more things to do, and then we're done. Oh, gonna be cutting grass. I don't know if anybody's watching. Got a little more cutting. Got a few more little spots I want to weld. I got rust converter I got to put on, and then I got to flip it over, do the etching primer on the bottom side. This is an etching primer. It's a product made to go on brand new metal. And then I'm going to use some of that rust converter on these other parts. You can see there's a little bit of rust. I might have already done it, but I'll just give it a second coat, make sure. And then it's going outside to be painted. And the Wi-Fi won't reach outside, so I got a new service provider, and that's why Wi-Fi will reach out here again for the first time in a couple of years. So it's gonna be some noisy. I gotta get the grinder going, make some noise coming up. So. I reused only the stuff you see that's green is reused. This brown piece too, that's new. It's not from the original mower deck. And then this sheet here was brand new steel I bought this spring. And then the front, you can't see the front from there, but it's brand new steel. And I re-welded all the anti-scallop wheel brackets back on the front a couple of days ago. And that new type of steel there, you have to have an etching primer, because even with the etching primer, in a couple of years it could peel right off. I don't know why, but unless you sandblast it. I'm not sandblasting it. Brand new steel shouldn't be sandblasted. But I thought the best quality etching primer is like 20, I think it's around $20 a can or something like that. For a spray, aerosol spray can. And then I bought 2 brand new fenders a couple of years ago for one of our trailers, many years ago for one of our trailers. And I bought the etching primer, did everything I was supposed to do, and within a few years all the paint peeled off. So I must have done something wrong. Thought I did everything right, but brand new metal. So I think there had to be some sort of something on that metal that just made it was contaminated. And even with the etching primer, it didn't quite work. So you're supposed to go around with a wet cloth and wipe off the excess of this stuff. It's a rust converter. I'm not sure if it works or not, but take a shot. I got a lot of stuff around here. It's all rusty, so it's worth trying. Barrier bond rust converter. And it's not cheap. This jug I think was $70. So I've used a little bit there. You know, half a liter maybe so far on different things. I got my dump trailer ace paint, so I really kind of bought it for the dump trailer. Just I'm not sandblasting anymore. I'm done with sandblasting. It's dirty, it's unhealthy, and it takes too much time to do it. So next, we're gonna get the grinder going, I guess. My list of the rust converters done, and then I got the tops of the anti-scalp brackets on the front. There's 3 of them, 2, 3. Yeah, I think you guys can see them. And the tops, because I welded them on, this was upside down. I didn't quite get the top properly. It looks awful. So I'm going to V that out, grind it, V it out, and then put that just a little weld in there, and then that'll be done. So it'll get noisy. You just push mute on your see, cut off back. I added a little piece of metal back in this corner. That's too low, so I'm going to cut that off. And then the rust converter's done. We got to flip it over, wire brush the whole underside, and then put the etching primer on. I bought 2 cans of that. Took a whole can to do this top, so it doesn't go very far. I didn't even put a very thick coat on. Here's self-etching primer. That's a white primer. And use some of that. High build. That's a filler primer. This stuff's expensive. Self-etching. Right there. Automotive. And then I got some of this high build gray. So where you've got deep scratches, and if you want a nice finish, just use that. I didn't really buy it for this Mower deck, but I might use it. So then I got the paint. I bought the paint yesterday. Rust-Oleum, I find Tremclad own. Rust-Oleum is own. I bought Tremclad, I believe. And I don't really think Tremclad paint is very good quality paint. So I buy this Beauty Tone. It sounds like, you know, feminine, wimpy paint, but it is really good paint. It's made from metal. It's got all the, there's your wheelbarrow. Long way there. There's a lawnmower. Boat. And we put this on. We bought it. First time we ever bought a gallon of this, we brushed it on one of our plows in the shop. Heated shop. Left it overnight. The next day it was plowing snow. And I predicted that all that paint would just peel right off. It only had about 12 hours of dry time, and no paint came off, and it looked great after that snowstorm. So I was sold on this Beauty Tone paint after that. So that's what we're going to use, and I got a green that matches really close to this original green you see right there. So you know, I could have made it any color at all, so I might as well match what's on the tractor. So I did. All right, so we got a noise alert. I'm gonna plug in the grinder, do a little bean out, a little grinding, a little cutting. Anyway, that's what we're doing today. It's blurry, eh? This camera does not work as great as my last. It's not as good as my last one. I don't know why. Why is it so blurry? So, summer's over. I love fall. I don't like the heat waves in summer. Fall is welcome. Cooler, you can get as much done in a couple hours as you can all day in a heat wave in summer. And I don't feel sick at the end of the day. So, just need an extension cord. And I'm going to turn the welder on. I'm going to do a little welding later on. Thanks for tuning in. And, oh, my extension cord. Yeah, I rolled everything up last night. I cleaned everything up thinking I was going to roll it outside to paint. And all these spots are missed. So, it may not get painted today, but we're going to try. We're going to try. I think this thing weighs about 350, maybe 375 pounds. It's 160, maybe 170 kilograms. I don't have any way of weighing it. Just guessing. I went by the square feet. This sheet here is 3/16. The original piece was 1/8. And I had how much it weighs by the square foot. I had that. I have it written down somewhere. So this top sheet weighs about, I'm going to guess, 50 pounds more than the original piece. But, you know, the original one was so rusted. It was full of holes. This whole area here was full of holes because it traps grass in here. And then in here it was full of grass. As soon as you have one hole in one of these mower decks, it just fills up with grass. You use it for 5 minutes and all the grass blows up in between that cover. It blows up, fills this area, which is way up underneath where your feet go on the tractor. Well, it's really hard to clean that out, and this property's got quite a bit of poison ivy on it. So the last thing I want to do is reach up in there and pull that out with my hands. Matter of fact, that right there, that was poison ivy I had a couple of weeks ago. It's all dried up there now, but I did a little bit of work and okay, got some grinding to do. Here we go. Okay. I felt I hadn't made a video in too long, so you know, why not go live and anybody can watch, see what I'm up to. beautiful sunny day. It rained. We had 3 inches of rain the last 2 days. Thursday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Yesterday was okay. I could have painted it. This thing could have been painted one of those days, but you know, I don't want to paint it in here. I want to use a paint gun. I'm going to use an HVLP gun with a compressor, and I can give it maybe 4 coats with the paint gun, and we're done in one day. And instead of brushing it on or use a paint roller or a brush, doesn't look too good. So. And then you got to come back and give it a second, third coat. So the only way to me is with the paint gun on this. It's too big, too many corners and too many spots that are hard to get into. So yeah, I'll have a brush too and touch up spots. I'm sure I'm going to get some runs because it's going to be really difficult to get in here with the paint gun. So maybe I'll brush that in there and then just shoot on top what I can. Yeah, I use turpentine as a reducer. I had a sign maker work for me for a couple of years, and he said all their signs they use turpentine with oil paints to thin them rather than lacquer thinner, because it just keeps the color, it doesn't fade, it just keeps it nice and bright. And I tried it, like this is about 13, 14 years ago. And I painted something back then yellow. It's been sitting out in the sun for all those years and it still doesn't look, it's not faded. So it works. And I didn't know that when I first started painting. I was using lacquer thinner, and it's just makes everything turn kind of a whitish, faded look within a few years. So that's the lacquer thinner you buy. That's just really made for cleaning paints. And if you use lacquers, I guess it's made to thin that out, but it's not really made for oil paints, colored paints. So yeah, turpentine is good results. I'm gonna turn the welder on and finish this. I don't know, like we're really close. Probably like a half an hour. I'll have it out the door and I'm gonna paint it. Thing is, last night I put everything away thinking I wouldn't need the welder anymore. In order to sweep the floor, I must have picked up 400 pieces of metal over the last couple of weeks. And I started using a coffee can. This is like, it's got flat tire written all over it. So it is full of little bits of metal, stuff like that. There's got to be 100 pieces like that in there. You gotta, little things like this. This will go right into a tire. When I'm on the phone, a lot of times I'm on the phone, I'll drag. I got a magnet, a little bar magnet, and I got a rope on it. I drag it around the driveway in front of the shop behind me, and pick up, screws. And I took a knife and I cut a little cross hole, and I can just put things in there without taking the lid off. Knock this over. It stays in. Okay. Plug in. Everything got put away last night. I don't know where it is. It's lean on. Your stuff's laying around and you know where it is, but it's not where it goes. So then you put it back where it goes and you forget where you put it. Okay. holes. I need a new pair of welding gloves. Burnt my finger the other day. Okay, so I found, see the stitching all comes apart, so maybe I'll just take a needle and thread and stitch them up again. Holes everywhere. These gloves, you pay $10 for them, but they only last, you know, 2-3 years, and you know, once you start burning your fingers all over the place, not much point having these anymore. Look at that. How much protection do you think that's giving me? But I bought these Lincoln Electric, really expensive gloves, and they have so much insulation in them, I can hardly move my fingers, so I never use them. I prefer these. Okay, let's get this thing rounded. My favorite time of year is fall. Nights are cooler, you gotta go in, when it gets dark, you gotta go in, you gotta stop working. All summer you're just work, and then fall comes and you finally get a break. The underside of this is where all the work went in. I'm going to flip it over as soon as I'm done. These few welds. Maybe we'll get a wet cloth, wipe that down. So that's done. Welds here are just kind of strictly cosmetic. I don't think I really need to do them, but I don't want to look at that ugly. There was no weld at all. It was just two pieces of metal butted up against each other. So done. I just couldn't leave it like that. I'll spend the next number of years looking at this thing. This is the side we see. I don't see anything from the other side. Go underneath there once in a while to change the blades, that's about it. But, you know, they take a beating. All right. I think we're done. Maybe a few more rolls. I'm gonna look over and yeah. This is pretty straightforward. Just copy what I had already. There was enough left of this old Mower deck to take all my measurements, and I had a picture of it. Yeah, right here. I put numbers all over. Yeah, that was the best way to do it, because I just wrote numbers everywhere. And when I dropped this frame back on, so I was able to salvage this complete frame. Everything you see here was attached, except for these 3 bars at the back. I reused these two, but I left these two attached to this center, what I call the spine. This was all intact, and I left these attached to it. So it's pretty easy. I just carried it over, dropped it on this deck, marked out my holes, drilled all these 12 holes, cut these big round holes for the hubs, these things here. And then once all that was done, I made sure, you know, my numbers were exact. Then I just started adding the sides. So I did the front edge first, came out further than I need to, and then I reused these side pieces on the original Mower deck. I think they're made of some sort of spring steel. I clamped a piece of that in a vise, tried to just bend it, just to see if I could bend it. It will not bend. So it's some sort of mystery metal. The guys that built this deck know what they used, but I don't know what it is. So I reused those two pieces, but everything else here on this was just mild steel, I believe. And so that's what I bought to replace it. Yeah. And I found one of these in Pennsylvania. Similar, I don't know if it was the same as this. I don't know if it was rear discharge. I don't really like rear discharge Mower decks. I prefer the side discharge. And it was, I think it was new. I don't think it was used at all. And it was $6,000 US. So it was not an option to buy one of these. And anything I found for sale that was used at a decent price was either in Florida or Texas. And they wanted, you know, $1,500 or $2,000. And it was rusted out like this one was. So I didn't see any point. So the best route for me to take was to either adapt a different type of Mower deck onto that tractor or rebuild this one. And I think the best alternative is to rebuild what I had. I called Ransom and I ordered new spindles. New anti-scalp wheels was missing. I think 3 were missing. Yeah, 3 were completely missing. And I think I ordered 3 or 4. I have an extra one maybe. And then the rest that were on it are going to be reused. They're not too badly worn out. So the casters were good. Just the bearings and the spindles. Even the belt was okay. So we're going to go with that. I don't know. I have no idea who's watching. Can't see the chat. Oh, it's Rusty Knox. Yeah, brand new Mower deck. Well, new old. It's a 1998 this tractor, but the tractor's in great shape. And to buy a tractor like that today would be over $20,000 Canadian. So $25,000 roughly. 3-cylinder, liquid cooled diesel, hydrostatic, 4-wheel drive. Yeah, the only option was to build, and I have no other attachments for that tractor. Really, I have no use for that at all. It has to cut grass, so we got ourselves a brand new Mower deck, and it's going to be painted today, and my Wi-Fi won't reach outside, but I'm going to paint it out in the sun out there, so I just got a few more little details, and then it's going out the door. I'm going to flip it over right now. So that's this chain block. This is a little sketchy doing this. 350 pounds. Falls, man, it'll crush somebody. So if you're watching, Rusty, it's 350 pounds is about 160. Around 155, 160 kilograms. It's freaking heavy, this thing. Lands on your foot, that's it for your foot. This This solver's just gonna flip right over here. I don't like this. Don't like it. Another day in the shop. Fucking kill me. Don't want to die on live TV here. Okay. Oh, I don't like that. I don't want that in there. So I'm going to wire brush it. If you guys want to leave, I don't blame you. It's going to be some noise. So I'm going to use the Angle grinder with a wire brush. This one here. This works pretty good on the other side. Because it's full of rust. And welding debris. See, I put the same pattern is on the big John Deere flex deck or bat wing. It's got these half that shroud on the back of that original mower deck. This mower deck was missing, so I had to guess at what was there before. So I put these little short ones. I think they're kind of designed to direct the grass more evenly out the back. I don't know. We'll see. When I try it, I'll know if it works or not. So, like I said, noise alert coming up. It's going to get really noisy. Now I'm putting the etching primer on. I misplaced my earmuffs. Okay. My wrist gets a little sore. Yeah. Okay. We're almost there, man. It's 3:30 and I gotta quit at 4, so 3:27. And I don't think I have enough time to paint. I was hoping I could at least paint one side of this today. So it'll be ready. I'm gonna get the etching primer on and it'll be ready for paint for Monday or Tuesday. I need a sunny day. I'm gonna do it outside. Not doing it in here. I'd have green on everything in here if I painted in here. Even the primer, I don't like doing it in here, but yeah. Anyway, standing on concrete all day, it just tires you out. I was tired was it yesterday? No, 2 days ago. It's hard on your joints, especially after a day of rain like that. It's damp. Okay. We can keep going. Lots of splatter all over. See if I can remove some of that. There was a ton of welding in here. I think I went through pretty much a whole bottle of argon CO2 mix. The wire, I haven't checked how much wire. I have a 40-pound roll in there. That MIG welder holds 40 pounds, so you don't have to change it very often. And I'm using I think it's 045. It's a big wire. Could be 035. Yeah, I think it's 035, and then if I do body work, I gotta switch it down to 025, so 25 thousandths of an inch. And I think that the 035 is ideal for me. That's what I'm doing. I'm welding 3/8 plate to 3/16. Yeah. Okay, let's go. Noise alert. Noise coming up. cordless drill. And this thing here, this little wire brush. I'll get all the corners. No, I don't know how I'm going to get paint up and behind this area here. I think I'm going to have to take a paintbrush, cut the handle off, and try and brush some on upside down up there. But that's a piece of 1/2 inch by 1.5 inches. So that originally that was just a piece of 1/8 bent on a 90-degree bend there, and that was it. And I added this piece of 1/2 by 1 inch, or I think this is 3/4, I forget, on the front. So our Kubota mower decks have a very strong front edge like that. And then I even welded in a couple of braces in the center. I think it's all overkill. I put these two in there, but I don't think I really needed those. And I was going to put one here and one here. I still might do it, you know. I think I'm going to do it because it was all caved in on the old mower deck, right in those two locations. This is between the caster mounts right here and these front wheels. Things tend to hit right here. So the only way to fix it was get underneath there with a sledgehammer and hammer it back out. So it was full of dents, like just like a, yeah, it's pretty beat up. So I didn't want to skimp on metal there. I kind of blew the budget on metal right there. But I think it'll be the last time I'll ever have to fix that. So I may still weld in a gusset there. I think I'm going to. Before I put the paint on, I want to get all this done. And then, yeah. So wherever I can't get with that angle grinder, I got to use something like this. Yeah, paint stick. Yep. Oh. What caused this to rust out was the grass clippings sitting on top, being wet. So it shortened the life by it. This thing should have kept going for years, but never got cleaned off. Project if you want to learn how to weld, boy. I tell you, there's a lot of welding to do on this. And this would be a great video if you're having trouble sleeping. Just watch this video and fall asleep. Yeah, before that etching primer goes on, I gotta blow this whole thing off, and then, like I said, I think I'm gonna put 2 gussets in there. I completely forgot about those things, and then that'll be the last thing I weld on here. It's looking good, man. It's looking good. Okay, I'm gonna lower it down there. End up getting squashed here. chain block never stuck on me before like that. Why is it sticking? Crooked, that's all right. What the hell is going on? Oh, I see what it is. Because this hook is pivoted over, it's catching on that corner, on the opposite corner here. Didn't do that on the way up. What's going on? This is no good. I can't lift this thing. I'm relying on you, chain block, to keep me safe, and you're not working properly. I'm gonna take that apart and grind those corners before this happens again. Right there. That corner right there, when it pivots up, is hitting the chain, stopping it from turning. That's no damn good. Okay, I know what to do. There we go. That'll work. This is a, I think this is a 1 ton, 2,000 pound chain hook. Down. That's a little shrapnel in there. I was really hoping I could get this thing painted today. I don't think it's gonna happen, but I'll have it ready for tomorrow. I'm on a road trip. I'm 8-9 hours on the road tomorrow, so it won't get painted tomorrow, that's for sure. And I think I'm at 1,482 subscribers, or more. I think maybe 84, 85 now. So yeah, I think I'm gonna hit 1,500 probably by the end of October. Don't get that many subscribers. 25, 30 a month. Yeah. So there's a good look at it. So the gussets I want to put in are right here, and right there. And these shrouds, I had a mental block on these shrouds. I call them shrouds, these curved pieces here. I didn't know how I was going to bend that without some sort of one of those fancy roller benders, and I didn't want to pay someone to do it. So I ended up going out on the that Frontier mower deck, the big John Deere mower deck. It's got these great big casters, and I stuck the metal in there. You think it was made for bending metal. I stuck these pieces in, and I just forced it down on the tire, and it bent it just about to a perfect curve. So that was easy. So I don't know why these simple little jobs, I never used to have that problem. I had a mental block, and I couldn't come up with a way to do it. Plus, it was a heat wave. It was 105 degrees with humidity, and I don't like welding in that kind of heat. I just find it too unbearable. So I stopped working. Plus, we had other family stuff going on, so I stopped working on it for about 2-3 weeks. But 3 weeks, I didn't touch this thing. So I could have really used this mower deck this summer. There's some spots I could go into with this. That big Frontier deck is great, but it doesn't fit a lot of places. So you need something a bit smaller. This isn't small, but it's 72 inches. It's a bit smaller than that Frontier deck. Okay, so I welded these 3 brackets back on. I added metal in here, in these corners here. It was not built strong enough. All 6 of these tabs. There's 2, 4, 6. Every one of them are bent. So the middle, there's 3 wheels going here, 3 of these plastic wheels. The middle one was touching the mower deck right here. One was completely missing. Both those tabs were bent right over. And the third one was touching too. It would just kind of roll a little bit, but it was rubbing. So if you're pushing, it didn't roll. One of the back ones were missing back here. So I made two of these tabs. I had this one and I had this one here. So I made these two and matched them. They're all different, a little bit different. So, and I was thinking of putting a bar across here to give it a little strength. Doesn't look strong enough to me, but those original ones were made that way, and they, except for the rust on this top part, they were pretty much intact. It just kind of disappeared because the wheel fell off one of them, and the metal had rusted completely out around where it welds on here. So I think I'm going to leave them like that. There's only so much time I can put into this. I almost welded these two on over here, right on top of where the bar goes on to mount this, and the blade would have hit it. So, you know, it's little things like that you gotta pay attention. I use this. I had the hub in there, and I cut this, and that's where my blade, the limit of the blade is. So I drew with a piece of soapstone on there, and I could see a line. I got lots of room there now, but originally I was going to weld them on right here. So imagine 2 pieces here. This would have hit both of them. Well, I would have been back to the drawing board on that, but caught it in time. I didn't make any mistakes, and I was able to salvage these 3 plates. I'm glad I was able to salvage. I think those are some sort of tool steel as well, because they don't bend. Yeah, and I used the cutting torch, a grinder, and I cut all the old welds. They're plug welded in here. And then originally they had been threaded in these holes. These nuts weren't welded on. They were threaded right through this. But every bolt broke. And I had to drill some of them out, heat with the torch, and extract them. And so now, if I have a problem, just grind the nut off, re-weld a new nut on. And most of these are grade 8 nuts. I started welding these grade 5 nuts on, and I thought, geez, you know, I should buy grade 8 nuts and weld them on. They're way better quality steel. I think they'll last longer. So I think 2 of these are grade 5s, and the rest are all grade 8s. It's little things like that. It just, you have to know this stuff. So, yeah, I'm going to cut 2 tabs, weld them on there, and then we'll put the etching primer on. I got a bit more of the shrapnel I'll chip off, blind off. This blade here wasn't easy to make either. I used the cutting disc, cut about 2/3 of the way through, and then used I think I have a video on that. Yeah, that's the video. That's the first video I made of this, the build part. And I salvaged a bunch of metal. I made a video of that too. Nobody watches them, so I'm doing a live video now. It's got 80 views, I think. The last one. So my video 6 years ago used to get 1,000 views within a couple of weeks, and now I'm getting 80 views in 3 months. So yeah, it's not worth putting the time into. It's fun making videos, but if I spend 4 hours making a video and 80 people watch it, it's not it's not a good investment of time. It's just, I'm a small channel, not complaining at all. Just thinking out loud. But normally I'm just taking video of what I'm doing, so I don't really make videos. I don't start out coming up with an idea and then, just film what I do and edit, spend 4 hours editing and put it out there for you guys. That's if you go back in the playlist, started in 2016, and around this time it was my son's birthday, so it was August 10th, 12th, my first video, 2016. Those first five videos I made, some of them I deleted because they were so horrible. They were so bad. I didn't feel comfortable talking to the camera. I didn't know what I was doing. I couldn't edit. So, but the first 5 that were on there from the beginning have over 1,000 views each. I think some of them have 4,000 or 5,000 views, which is kind of great for a channel that I only had about 8 subscribers that first month. So, okay, I'm gonna make those 2 gussets, just perfect triangles, and then get the MIG going, weld them in there. Get this thing. I want to see this thing cut grass. I still have to assemble all the hubs, bearings, and reassemble the whole Mower deck, attach it to the tractor. Yeah, I still got quite a bit of work to do. This painting is the biggest hurdle to get to the next step. So can't do anything with bare metal. We gotta paint it. So. How many viewers have we got here? 3. Hey, Active Adam, Lance, and Patrick. I hope you're watching right now. I hope you didn't just leave. So we're doing a really, really simple video today. It's just prepping this for paint. I don't even know if I put a title on this. No, it just says live chat. I'm removing a bunch of rust. This thing's been sitting around since July. I think I started this project in July. Don't start these welding projects in the summer unless you have an air-conditioned shop. But it got too hot and we had too many things going on, so I stopped for about, I don't know, 3 weeks. I didn't touch this. And now it's all finished and we're going to paint it today. I'm going to put the primer on and probably paint it on Tuesday. Tomorrow I'm 9 hours on the road. I got a little trip I want to take, and then Monday I got some work lined up, and I think it's supposed to start raining again too. I want to paint this outside. I don't want paint all over the shop, so I try and do my painting outside if I can. And I'll prime it in here today. I'll put the etching primer. I got the primer ready to go here. Where is it? New metal. I don't know. I don't have good luck with new metal, painting new metal. We're gonna put that primer. The etching primer is supposed to not peel off. It's supposed to stay on. Etch the. That's what I'm using. Automotive self-etch primer. Dominion. I don't know if it's any good. It's expensive. It's $20 for that can. And it's not very big. It's 525 grams, 15 ounces. So there's a bit left in this one, and then I got a brand new one. It took a whole can to do the top side. And I only put it on the new metal. I'm not going to put it on this recycled metal I'm using on this side. So, yeah. Okay, get some metal, get some steel. Not very organized today. It's just kind of an afterthought. Put this gusset in. Okay, I know. Maybe when I put it there, I said I was going to forget I put it here. I did, I forgot. Forgot where I put it. Looking for steel. Oh, here we go. We'll get little pieces out of this. I'm just going to use a cutting disc, and I cut two 2 gussets out of here. I'm going to put them in this, right in this corner here. So that's the 3/16. That's part of that one big sheet I bought. This piece here. It should be good enough. I think it's plenty. I think it's overkill, but I don't want to do this again. So. Okay. Well, looks like we got a visitor here. All right, where did I put that cutter? My plasma cutter. Here's a plasma cutter. No. All right, guys. The live stream. I couldn't do a live stream for a couple of years because the Wi-Fi wouldn't. Sometimes it would reach out here, and a lot of times, most of the time, it wouldn't. So we got a new service provider for the internet, and it seems to work. I don't know who that is. Okay, someone just drove in, turned around, drove out. I don't know if they want to come see me. Good. I think I'm going to brush on a coat of green paint today. Up in this corner. There's no way I can get the paint gun up in there. And if it rusts, it's fine, but it'd be nice to get one coat of paint in there. I think 1/2-inch thick steel. I'm not worried about it rusting through. It's going to take 50 years for that. I don't even think it'll rust through ever. But okay, there's the plasma cutter is ready. Gonna measure and mark that. Put everything away last night, and I gotta go run around and find everything again. So yeah, I think my welds. I think this thing will hold up pretty good. And you got a 1,200, 1,300 pound tractor behind it running this stuff, and it's a 28 horsepower Perkins diesel engine, so a lot of power coming through these blades. So it takes a beating. It looks like it's all overkill, but I think a lot of lawnmowers you see at Lowe's and Home Depot and that, the whole riding tractor weighs as much as this one Mower deck, 350, 400 pounds. But considering all those factors, the 1,200, 1,300 pound tractor behind it, and the horsepower going through these blades, it's got to be built to take punishment. And most of these machines that you see, these Ransomes, you see them, they're on golf courses. They're not sold to the landscaping, property maintenance kind of companies. They're more geared towards like golf courses, golf course equipment, fairway, and well, this would be a rough mower. So that's normally, I think it came from a municipality, 5-6 hours drive from here. But the company I bought it from sell mostly to golf courses. golf course equipment, stuff you don't see at the Toro dealer or at the Exmark or Gravely, any of those companies. They don't make anything like this. They make air-cooled, fuel-injected gas engines, and they make lighter equipment for residential use, smaller. 72 is pretty big. Okay, I'm going to mark these and cut them. Got my measuring tape. I want it to be about 3.5 by 3.5. Okay, I'm going to do that. You're going to hear some noise. And I'll come back and start welding them in. Just pause. I'll give you a few minutes. Tried, square, everything's put away. Just cut out the cardboard. Threw it all over. Be back in a minute. Just cut some metal. You're going to see the final welds. Then we got a little more cleaning up. And some primer going on. But one thing at a time. One thing at a time. some more guys. Yep. Okay. Got my metal cut. 2 gussets. See how they fit. Perfect. I don't know. I thought about doing these a long time ago and then I totally forgot, I guess. So I cleaned them up a little bit and weld them in there. Where'd the grinder go? Okay. Oh, we got like 1 viewer. Awesome. That's what I'm going to paint. I just got a pallet out in front of my little white van. Use that pallet. I got the forklift attached to the Kubota. Little set of forks I made 24 years ago. So I'm pretty sure I know it'll lift this mower deck. It's whether it'll stay on the pallet or not. I think so. I'll lift it out, paint it, bring it back in. Over. It's getting cool at night now. It goes down to 12, 14 degrees Celsius, which is, what's that in Fahrenheit? 45, 50 degrees. So it's a bit too cool, and there's a heavy dew, so I don't really want it sitting out there overnight. So I'll bring it back in and let it dry in here. It's nice and warm in here over the night. So, and the next time, I was hoping to show some video of me painting it, but it doesn't reach out there. If I bring my camera out there, if I move 3 feet from this location, it quits on me, so it disconnects. So I'm gonna end the video right here. Yeah. That's it. Thanks for watching.